Captain Jaiwan Park stood on the bridge of the Earthship Intrepid, staring at the viewscreen with wide eyes. What had begun as a routine exploration mission had quickly turned into something much bigger. Just moments ago, they had jumped into an unexplored star system. Now, their small fleet of 3 Earth vessels found themselves surrounded by over 50 alien ships. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," said Communications Officer Kyung, her fingers moving quickly across her console. "Put it through," Jaiwan ordered, straightening her uniform. The viewscreen flickered, revealing a stern-faced alien with pale blue skin and ridged brows. He wore an elaborate uniform covered in what appeared to be medals and insignia. Primitive space wanderers, the alien spoke in a surprisingly clear translation. "I am Admiral Tejo of the Galactic Empire. You have entered Imperial space without permission. Your vessels are now under our authority. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded." Jaiwan exchanged glances with her first officer, Do-Hyun, who raised an eyebrow. Galactic Empire? This was humanity's first contact with alien life, and apparently, they'd stumbled into the territory of a vast interstellar civilization. "Admiral Tejo," Jaiwan replied carefully. "I am Captain Jaiwan Park of Earth. We are on a peaceful exploration mission and were unaware of any territorial boundaries. We apologize for the intrusion and would welcome the opportunity to establish diplomatic relations." The Admiral's face darkened. "There will be time for your excuses later. Power down immediately or face destruction." Before Jaiwan could respond, one of the larger Imperial vessels fired what appeared to be a warning shot. The bridge crew tensed, but instead of the expected impact, they felt nothing. "Damage report?" Jaiwan asked automatically. "No damage, Captain," replied Chief Engineer Jisoo, sounding confused. "Our shields absorbed it completely. In fact," she checked her readings again, "our shields are still at 99.8% capacity." Do-Hyun moved closer to Jaiwan. "Captain, that was a direct hit from their main weapon." Jaiwan frowned. Something wasn't adding up. The alien fleet was massive, their ships enormous compared to Earth vessels. They clearly represented an advanced civilization capable of faster-than-light travel. Yet their weapons seemed almost primitive. Admiral Tejo's face reappeared on screen, looking puzzled. "Your shields remain intact." "Interesting. Perhaps you are not as primitive as we thought." "Captain," whispered Science Officer Min Jae from his station, "based on my readings, their weapon technology appears to be significantly less advanced than ours. It's as if they've developed space travel but never improved their weapons beyond early directed energy." Jaiwan nodded slightly, keeping her expression neutral. If this galactic empire discovered how outmatched their weapons technology was, it might create a dangerous situation. "Admiral," she said calmly, "there's no need for hostilities. We're happy to comply with your procedures since we're visitors in your space." "A wise decision," Tejo replied. "Prepare to be escorted to the Imperial capital for processing." When the transmission ended, the bridge crew burst into excited chatter. "An entire galactic civilization," exclaimed Kyung. "With ships that size, they must have incredible technology," added Min Jae. "Except for their weapons," Do-Hyun pointed out. "Did you see the energy readings? My grandfather's farming laser is more powerful." Jaiwan raised her hand for quiet. "Everyone, listen carefully. We seem to have encountered a vast empire with uneven technological development. They're advanced in some areas but surprisingly behind in others. This presents both opportunity and risk." "Should we tell them about the disparity?" asked Jisoo. "Not yet," Jaiwan decided. "We need to learn more first. For now, we play along and gather information." The fact that they call themselves an empire suggests a hierarchical structure that might not respond well to perceived inferiors having superior technology. As the Earth ships were escorted deeper into Imperial space, they passed enormous space stations and planets clearly shaped by advanced engineering. The crew watched in amazement as entire moons appeared to have been terraformed. How can they reshape planets but have such weak weapons? Do-Hyun wondered aloud. "Perhaps they've been at peace so long they haven't needed to develop them," suggested Min Jae. Jaiwan nodded thoughtfully. Whatever the reason, we're about to meet a galactic civilization on unexpectedly equal terms. Let's be careful not to laugh in their faces when they show us their technology. The last thing we want is to create enemies on our first venture into the stars. As they approached what appeared to be the Imperial capital world, Jaiwan couldn't help but feel both excited and nervous. Humanity had prepared for first contact for centuries, but nobody had expected it would involve an empire that seemed both more and less advanced than Earth. The Imperial Processing Center towered over Captain Jaiwan and her crew as they followed their escort through massive doors carved with symbols of the Galactic Empire. Lieutenant Dohayan walked beside her, his eyes constantly scanning their surroundings. Neither spoke much, both too busy taking in details about this alien civilization. "Welcome to Outpost Station Alpha 7, announced their guide, an Imperial official named Hyunki. "This is where all newcomers to Imperial space are processed and categorized." The humans were led into a vast chamber filled with different alien species waiting in various lines. Officials in ornate uniforms moved around with handheld devices, scanning and documenting each visitor. "Your species will need full biological, technological, and cultural assessment," Hyunki explained. "The Empire must determine your proper place in the galactic hierarchy." "Of course," Jaiwan replied politely. "We're eager to learn about your civilization as well." They were separated into different examination rooms. Engineer Jisoo found herself in a technology assessment chamber with an Imperial scientist named Yunha. "Please demonstrate your most advanced computing device," Yunha requested, readying her recording equipment. Jisoo pulled out her standard-issue tablet computer. "This is a basic model we use for everyday tasks." Yunha's eyes widened as Jisoo navigated through various applications, showing simple functions like data analysis and communication. The Imperial scientist kept asking her to slow down, taking extensive notes. "This processing speed is remarkable," Yunho whispered. "And you say this is a basic model?" "Yes, just standard equipment for our exploration teams," Jisoo replied, puzzled by the scientist's reaction. "Is something wrong?" "No, not at all," Yunha said quickly. "Please continue." Meanwhile, in another room, Security Officer Miho was being questioned about Earth's defensive capabilities. "Our standard security protocols include basic shield technology and defensive weapons," Miho explained carefully, following Captain Jaiwan's instructions not to reveal too much. The Imperial military officer, Commander Jinho, nodded seriously. "And these basic shields were what deflected our warning shot?" "Yes, our shields are designed to handle various space hazards," Miho said with a straight face, though internally he was struggling not to laugh. The Empire's devastating weapons had barely registered on their sensors. "Impressive," Commander Jinho muttered, making notes. "Very impressive." In the cultural exchange room, Science Officer Min Jae was showing images of Earth to an enthusiastic Imperial cultural analyst named Nari. "These are our major cities," Min Jae explained, displaying pictures of Seoul, New York, and Lagos. "The structures are quite tall," Nari observed. "Your materials science must be quite developed." "These are just standard buildings," Min Jae replied, increasingly aware of the technological gap between their civilizations. When he showed a simple video of an Earth entertainment center with its holographic displays, Nari gasped and called over several colleagues. "This is a weapon demonstration, yes?" she asked excitedly. "No, it's just for entertainment. For watching shows and playing games," Min Jae explained. The Imperial officials exchanged concerned glances. Later, the Earth crew regrouped in their assigned quarters. Captain Jaiwan called them together once they confirmed the room wasn't being monitored. "Report," she ordered. "What have we learned?" "Their computational technology is at least a century behind ours," Jisoo said. "They were amazed by my tablet. I didn't even show them anything advanced." "Same with their materials science," added Dohayan. "They use metals we phased out decades ago." "The most interesting part," Min Jae said, "is that they have incredible achievements in areas like faster-than-light travel and planetary engineering. It's as if their technology developed completely differently from ours." "They thought my description of a home entertainment system was a weapons platform," Jisoo said, unable to contain a small laugh. "We need to be careful," Jaiwan cautioned. Their civilization spans thousands of worlds according to what they've told us. They clearly have achievements we don't. And there's something else, they seem convinced we're hiding our true capabilities. That's because they can't believe anyone could enter space without developing the technologies they prioritized, Minjae suggested. A chime sounded at their door. Hyunki entered, looking formal. Captain Jaiwan, your crew is requested to attend a formal dinner with Imperial High Command tonight. They are most interested in learning more about Earth. After he left, the crew looked at each other. Remember, Jaiwan said quietly, no laughing, no matter what they show us. We don't want to offend a galactic empire on our first day. Even if their fearsome warriors are using weapons my grandmother would consider antiques? Do-Hyeon asked with a barely suppressed smile. Especially then, Jaiwan replied, though her own lips twitched. We need to understand this empire before we reveal too much. Something tells me there's more to them than outdated technology. As they prepared for the dinner, they all wondered how a civilization could build an empire spanning thousands of worlds with such uneven technological development, and what it might mean for Earth's future in the galaxy. The summons arrived 3 days after their first meeting with Imperial officials. Captain Jaiwan and her senior officers were to present themselves before Emperor Sunwoo for formal assessment. The crew had spent those days being interviewed, tested, and observed by various Imperial departments. This is it, Jaiwan told her team as they stood outside the massive golden doors of the Imperial throne room. Remember, we represent all of humanity now. The doors swung open silently, revealing a vast chamber filled with hundreds of aliens from various species. They stood in ordered groups, wearing different colored robes that seemed to indicate rank or function. At the far end sat Emperor Sunwoo on an elevated throne made from what appeared to be a single piece of crystal. The humans from Earth, announced a court official as Jaiwan and her team walked down the central aisle. The Emperor was surprisingly young-looking for the ruler of thousands of worlds. His skin had a faint purple tint, and his eyes were large and completely black. He wore a simple crown and robes that seemed modest compared to the elaborate dress of his courtiers. Captain Jaiwan Park, the Emperor said, his voice soft yet carrying throughout the chamber. Your arrival has caused quite a stir in my empire. Jaiwan bowed respectfully. We apologize for any disruption, Your Majesty. We are explorers, not invaders. So you claim, said a stern-faced female standing beside the throne. I am Chief Researcher Hyerin. My team has analyzed your technology, biology, and cultural information. Hyerin activated a floating display that showed various scans of the human ships and equipment. Your vessels contain technology that contradicts your development level, she stated. Your weapons and shield capabilities are advanced, yet your faster-than-light drive is primitive. Your computing systems are beyond anything in the Empire, yet your gravitational control is basic. This inconsistency suggests deception. Jaiwan maintained a neutral expression. Different civilizations develop along different technological paths, researcher Hyerin. We've focused on certain areas that proved important for our survival. The Emperor leaned forward. What my researcher means, Captain, is that your technological profile doesn't make sense. It appears intentionally misleading. Science Officer Minjae stepped forward after receiving a nod from Jaiwan. Your Majesty, if I may offer an observation? We've noticed the Empire has achieved remarkable feats in spatial manipulation and planetary engineering that far exceed Earth's capabilities. Perhaps our civilizations simply prioritize different areas of development. This seemed to intrigue the Emperor. An interesting theory. Yet we find it curious that your basic shields completely absorbed weapons that have subdued countless species. And now, the Emperor continued, his voice growing harder, we must consider whether your Earth represents a threat to Imperial security. Our analysis suggests your planet could be destroyed by our third-level planetary pacification system. We would regret such action, but the security of thousands of worlds must come first. Lieutenant Do-Hyeon's hand instinctively moved toward his weapon before Jaiwan's slight headshake stopped him. She knew what he was thinking. Their initial scans suggested the Empire's planetary pacification system would barely damage a modern Earth city's defensive grid. Emperor Sunwoo, Jaiwan said carefully, may I speak frankly? The Emperor nodded. Earth has no desire for conflict with the Galactic Empire. We seek knowledge and peaceful exchange. If our technological development seems unusual, it's because our planet has faced different challenges than yours. She paused. I believe both our civilizations have much to learn from each other. Science Officer Min Jae had been quietly studying the court during this exchange. He noticed how the thousands of worlds represented here seemed to operate in perfect harmony, something Earth's nations had never achieved. The Empire's true strength wasn't its weapons, but its stability and diplomatic network. Your Majesty, Min Jae said suddenly, while our defensive capabilities might be different than yours, we've observed that the Empire has achieved something Earth never has: united governance across thousands of diverse worlds. That achievement far outweighs any weapon. This seemed to please the Emperor. Your scientist speaks wisdom, Captain Jaiwan. Perhaps there is another option besides conflict. I propose an alliance, Jaiwan said firmly. A technology exchange that benefits both our civilizations. Earth can offer advancements in fields where the Empire has focused less attention, and your people can share knowledge from areas where you excel. A murmur ran through the court. Emperor Sun Wu raised his hand for silence. A bold proposal, he said. But I wonder if your true intention is to gain access to our accumulated knowledge across thousands of years and worlds? Knowledge should be shared, not hoarded, Jaiwan replied. Earth has much to learn, but also much to offer. The Emperor studied her face for a long moment. Your proposal merits consideration. You will remain as honored guests while the Imperial Council deliberates. As they were escorted from the throne room, Do-Hyeon whispered to Jaiwan, did he really threaten to destroy Earth with weapons that couldn't penetrate our atmospheric shields? Shoo, Jaiwan cautioned, but couldn't completely hide her own relief. What matters is that we've bought time. And I think we've found the Empire's true value, not their weapons, but their unity and stability across thousands of worlds. 3 weeks after their meeting with Emperor Sun Wu, the Earth delegation found themselves working alongside Imperial scientists in a large technology exchange facility. The Emperor had approved a limited partnership, allowing humans to share specific technological advancements while gaining access to the Empire's vast knowledge of stellar mapping and planetary sciences. Engineer Jisoo stood before a group of wide-eyed Imperial engineers, explaining the basics of quantum computing. This simple processor can perform calculations in minutes that would take your current systems years, she explained, trying to use the simplest terms possible. Impossible, muttered one Imperial engineer named Wu Jin. Computing technology reached its natural limit centuries ago. Every Imperial scientist knows this. That's what we thought too, until we tried a different approach, Jisoo replied patiently. She connected the small processor to their system and ran a demonstration. The Imperial engineers gasped as the device completed in seconds what would have taken their best machines months. Across the facility, Lieutenant Do-Hyeon was working with Imperial security forces, demonstrating improved shield technology. The key innovation was layering the field harmonics, he explained. It requires more power initially but provides exponentially better protection. Not all Imperials were pleased with these developments. Minister Jae-hwan, leader of the conservative faction, watched the demonstrations with obvious displeasure. These humans disrupt thousands of years of stable development, he complained to his allies. Today they change our computers. Tomorrow, they will want to change our society. Emperor Sun Wu, however, was fascinated by the possibilities. He had invited Captain Jaiwan to walk with him through the Imperial Gardens. Your people have achieved remarkable things, Captain, the Emperor said. Already, the human computing improvements have helped us solve navigation problems that troubled us for centuries. We're grateful for what we've learned as well, Jaiwan replied. Your star charts have saved us decades of exploration work. The Emperor stopped beside a flowering plant. Not everyone welcomes change, Captain. The Empire has remained stable for millennia precisely because we avoid radical innovations. With respect, Your Majesty, innovation doesn't have to threaten stability, Jaiwan said. It can strengthen it. That evening, an emergency alert sounded throughout the facility. Security Chief Kaibum raced to the main laboratory, finding smoke and confusion. Imperial guards were trying to contain a fire near the main power core.
Sabotage, reported an Imperial security officer named Juno.
Someone tampered with the power regulators connected to the human computing systems.
Kaibum didn't hesitate.
He pulled out a small device and tossed it into the center of the fire. It expanded instantly into a containment field, smothering the flames completely.
What was that? Juno asked, amazed.
Standard emergency containment, Kaibum answered.
Nothing special.
Word of the incident reached Minister Jaehuan and his conspirators, who had arranged the sabotage. The humans neutralized it so easily, one worried ally told him. Their defensive technology is far beyond what we expected.
Then we must take more direct action, Jaehuan decided.
The next day, during a major demonstration of combined human-imperial technology for government officials, armed men burst into the facility. They wore imperial military uniforms but moved with the coordination of trained assassins. Deaf to the human influence, their leader shouted, pointing a weapon at Captain Jaiwan and Emperor Sun Wu, who were seated together. Before anyone could react, Security Chief Kaibum activated his personal shield, expanding it to cover both the captain and the emperor. The attackers' weapons fired, but the energy blasts dissipated harmlessly against the shield. Imperial guards quickly subdued the attackers. When questioned, they revealed their connection to Minister Jaehuan, who was immediately arrested for treason. In the aftermath, Emperor Sun Wu invited Captain Jaiwan to a private audience. "Today I witnessed something remarkable," the emperor said. "Your security chief's shield technology easily deflected weapons that our military considered state-of-the-art." Jaiwan nodded, knowing there was no point in further deception.
"Yes, Your Majesty.
Our defensive capabilities are significantly advanced compared to imperial weapons. Yet you never mocked us or treated us as inferiors," the emperor observed. "Despite our threatening posture when we first met."
"That would have been counterproductive," Jaiwan replied.
"And honestly, your empire has achieved wonders we can only dream of. The scale of your civilization, the stability across thousands of diverse worlds. Earth's nations still struggle to cooperate on a single planet."
The emperor smiled. "I've been wondering why humans sometimes struggle not to laugh during our weapons demonstrations. Now I understand." He paused. It wasn't disrespect. It was genuine surprise at the technological disparity. "We meant no offense," Jaiwan said quickly.
"None taken," Emperor Sun Wu assured her.
"In fact, I believe this incident has clarified our path forward."
He stood and looked out at the stars.
"For too long, the Empire has prioritized stability over progress. We feared change because we feared instability. But your people have shown us that innovation and stability can coexist. What happens now?" Jaiwan asked. "Now," said the emperor, "we embrace a new era.
One where human innovation combines with imperial stability to create something greater than either of us could achieve alone." As they stood together looking at the stars, both leaders knew the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months after the failed assassination attempt, Captain Jaiwan stood beside Emperor Sun Wu on the observation deck of the newly commissioned exploration vessel Harmony. The ship represented a perfect blend of human and imperial technology, human computing systems and defensive capabilities combined with imperial faster-than-light drives and life support systems.
"Ambassador Park," the emperor said, using Jaiwan's new title, "today marks the beginning of a new era for both our civilizations." Jaiwan nodded, still adjusting to her role as Earth's first imperial ambassador.
Below them, the massive launch ceremony continued, with thousands of beings from across the empire gathered to witness the historic event. "Who would have thought our accidental meeting would lead to this?" she replied.
The emperor smiled.
"The universe works in mysterious ways. When your ships first appeared in our space, many counselors advised me to destroy them immediately.
And when we first detected your fleet, some of my officers wanted to open fire," Jaiwan admitted. "I'm glad cooler heads prevailed on both sides."
In the 6 months since their alliance began, changes had swept through the empire at an unprecedented pace. Human technology had revolutionized imperial communications, medicine, and defensive systems. In return, Earth had gained access to thousands of habitable worlds and technologies for efficient interstellar travel.
Minister Yuna, who had replaced the disgraced Minister Jaehuan, approached them with a data tablet. The integration reports are excellent, Your Majesty. 27 core worlds have fully upgraded their planetary networks, and another 43 are scheduled for completion this quarter. And the cultural exchange programs? The Emperor asked. Exceeding expectations, Yuna replied happily. The human entertainment and art databases have become extremely popular.
And Earth universities report overwhelming interest in imperial history and philosophy courses.
Jaiwan couldn't help but smile.
The initial fear and suspicion had given way to genuine curiosity and friendship between their peoples. What had begun as an awkward first contact with each side hiding their true capabilities had evolved into something neither could have imagined.
Engineer Jisa joined them, now serving as the chief technology liaison between Earth and the Empire.
The joint research team has solved the shield harmonics problem, she reported.
The new system uses 40% less energy while providing double the protection. Excellent work, the Emperor said. Implemented immediately across the defense grid.
Later that evening, a celebration dinner brought together the original human crew and their closest Imperial colleagues.
Lieutenant Dohayan, now Earth's military attaché to the Empire, raised a glass in toast.
To unexpected friendships, he said. And to learning that strength comes in many forms. Security Chief Kaibum, who had become something of a legend among Imperial security forces for his defensive techniques, nodded in agreement.
When we first encountered your ships, we thought our weapons would easily destroy them.
Now we train together and learn from each other. Science Officer Min Jae, who had become the head of the Joint Exploration Initiative, looked around the table. The real miracle isn't the technology we've shared, but the perspectives. The Empire taught us how to maintain stability across vast distances and diverse populations. Something Earth nations have struggled with for centuries. And you humans, added Imperial scientist Yunha, taught us that tradition and innovation can coexist.
That change doesn't have to mean chaos. As the dinner continued, Ambassador Jaiwan slipped away to the observation deck for a moment of quiet reflection. Minister Yuna found her there, gazing at the stars. Overwhelming, isn't it? Yuna asked.
6 months ago, you were captain of a single exploration vessel. Now you help shape the future of thousands of worlds.
Jaiwan smiled.
Sometimes I still expect to wake up and find this was all a dream.
I've been meaning to ask you something, Yuna said. That first day, when Admiral Tejo fired warning shots at your ships and nothing happened, were you terrified? Jaiwan laughed openly now. Actually, we were trying desperately not to laugh.
Our sensors showed your devastating weapons were less powerful than our training systems.
To her surprise, Yuna laughed too.
And we thought you had some advanced shield technology specifically designed to counter our weapons. The Emperor was convinced you were a highly advanced species testing our reactions.
In a way, we each had something the other needed, Jaiwan reflected. You had stability and unity across thousands of worlds. We had innovation and adaptability.
They stood silently for a moment, watching as a fleet of joint human imperial ships prepared for departure on an exploration mission to previously uncharted regions.
Where do you think we'll be in 10 years? Yuna asked.
Exploring together, Jaiwan replied.
Learning together.
And probably still occasionally laughing at our cultural misunderstandings. As if to prove her point, a confused human scientist could be heard in the corridor trying to explain the concept of cats as pets to a bewildered imperial zoologist. Jaiwan and Yuna exchanged glances and burst into laughter once more, not the nervous, hidden laughter of their first encounters, but the genuine, shared joy of friends who had moved past misunderstanding to create something new and wonderful together. In the vastness of space, the combined fleet jumped to faster than light speed, carrying the shared hopes and dreams of two civilizations that had accidentally found each other, and ended up laughing together among the stars.